Well, good afternoon. Today is Wednesday, February 25th, 2026, and this is the County of Monterey's weekly news briefing. My name is Nick Pasculi. I am the county's Chief Public Information Officer for the County of Monterey. The County of Monterey is committed to bringing topics to the community that help enrich the lives of all those who live in Monterey County. We hope to inspire people to get more deeply involved in their community and their government. Today we have an exciting lineup, and our very first guest today is Supervisor Luis Alejo from District 1 for the County of Monterey. And Supervisor Alejo is going to talk to us about a very exciting project that's near and dear to his heart that he's been working on for many, many years, and that is the COVID Memorial Garden Unveiling, which is going to happen in just a few weeks. Welcome, Supervisor Alejo.
Yes, good to be here, and I'm really excited to talk about this topic. It's been long in the works. In fact, I filed a referral to create a COVID memorial in remembrance of all the victims of the COVID pandemic, but also to honor the superheroes, the people who are on the front lines serving our communities during one of the most difficult moments in the history of California and in our nation. And finally, that moment is coming very soon. So that was back in February of 2021. I also authored a resolution of the year afterwards, and that our Board of Supervisors approved to recognize the first Monday of every March as a day of remembrance for our COVID victims and our frontline heroes. And so this couldn't come at a better time here in March, almost 5 years after the COVID pandemic started, to actually have a memorial for the 940 victims of the COVID pandemic, but also to honor the thousands more heroes, the people who are in healthcare, our teachers, the farm workers who never had to shelter in place during that time because they had to keep harvesting the crops, and many other essential workers that really helped us save lives and helped our communities during one of the most challenging moments in our county's history.
That's amazing. And, I know it's a deep passion and a deep commitment. And of course, this unveiling of a sculpture is outside art, but it's kind of outdoor art with a purpose.
Definitely. We want to unveil this on the day that we have this ceremony on March 10th. But I think it's a beautiful way to remember all those that we've loved, and then those who helped our community during critical times. I think people are going to see beautiful artwork out there, and also a way to remember all the people that we lost. We also want this to be a place for families to come to remember their loved ones, and also for future generations when they come here to the County Government Center at 168 West Alisal, right here between our government main building and the courthouse. There will be a place where they will always know that those loved ones are being remembered by their county government and in our community. This is the first memorial of its kind in our county. And we're also remembering people of all parts of Monterey County, whether it's South County, North County, the Peninsula, Salinas Valley. This is a place that I think is a place for reflection and remembrance of our loved ones.
Yeah, and this is a great event that we have planned here on March 10th, which is a Tuesday. It's when our Board of Supervisors meets, and it's going to take place primarily during the morning part of the board meeting and into the lunch hour. But we're going to have speakers, and very exciting is you have some family members that have agreed to come and talk.
Yeah, there's been some families. Obviously, this is when they lose a loved one, it leaves a space that can never be filled again. I know every birthday and every Christmas and holiday, there's a emptiness there of not having their loved one there, whether it was a father, a mother, a grandparent, a child, a brother or sister. But we do have at least 3 families that will come and speak in remembrance of their loved ones. And we are also inviting other families, if they want to come and just speak briefly of who their family member was. They're also invited to do that as well. And we also want to acknowledge all our community partners. This wouldn't have been possible without the outpouring of support from individual donors and businesses who felt that this was important enough to support it. And we were able to generate most of the money coming from individual donors out in the community. So this is a true partnership. And I couldn't be prouder of Monterey County for coming together to make this project possible here at the County Government Center.
Yeah, and working directly with you on this project has been tremendous. And one of the things we want people to know is we're not going to forget these folks. And we've made opportunity available on our website, which will launch next Tuesday, for family members that they can go in and enter the name of a loved one that perhaps they lost. And also, they can also honor someone that may have helped their family during that critical time period.
I think that's the right way to do it, to have a place where their loved ones could be memorialized online as part of this memorial garden, but also to have a place to honor those heroes. And I know there's a lot of stories out there, people who really came through in a big way. I just remember our grocery stores being closed, and even the grocery clerks were heroes because they were on the front line. And at a time when vaccines were scarce, or testing was scarce even before that. So there's a lot of people to thank, and this is the right place to go and be able to do both.
Outstanding. And Supervisor, I know the community is very much grateful for your efforts in bringing this forward, because so many times in our lives, historic events happen and we don't want to gloss over them. We want to remember them. We want to reflect, and we want to be grateful.
Exactly right. We don't want to forget any of these of our residents that lost their lives during this moment. And I think it's a beautiful thing for the community to know that their family members will always have a place here at the County Government Center, the main place where we do business here at the county. Just outside our doors here, there is a place for them to always be remembered. Even many years down the road, this will still be there. And telling the community, we have never forgot them.
Outstanding. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I'm just excited. The community is invited to come on March 10th. It'll be in the morning, of course, and we hope that our county family and also the community at large participates in this, and that we set an example of for other neighboring counties that it's important to have a place to remember our loved ones, and also to not forget what happened during these times. There were a lot of hard decisions to be made. There were a lot of unknowns at the time. We had never experienced anything like this during our lifetimes, but it's a story to not forget, and I think this beautiful memorial garden is a beautiful way to do that going forward.
And we have the invitation on the screen right now. And of course, that is also available on the county's social media, Facebook, Instagram. We'll be sending it out over and over again for the next couple of days. So we really invite the community to come and be part of this historic event, and also to share with each other the shared experience that we've had. Supervisor Alejo, thank you so much for your leadership in this.
Thank you for inviting me. Yeah.
And your commitment.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. See you March 10th.
All right. See you March 10th. Absolutely. Well, thank you very much again, Supervisor Alejo, and all his staff at the District 1 office for being a part of this event that's coming up. So we have with us today, we have Christopher Gallegos, who is with the County of Monterey Free Libraries, and he's here to talk about the Gonzales Library Branch grand reopening. And I tell you, libraries, in my opinion, are the heart of a community, Christopher. And so we're excited to have you with us today and learn more about the new Gonzales Library.
Thank you so much. And yeah, of course, I agree with you. I think that's a great way you stated it. Yeah, so the Gonzales Library, I've been with the county for 20 years. So I started in 2005. And so we were in a location on not quite the other side of Gonzales, but basically across the overpass from where we're at now. And that site served us well for many years. And there were a lot of great memories and a lot of good community gathering and community spirit that happened there. But there had always been a discussion about expanding out. So the form that's taken, and it's been quite a journey, it's been an exciting journey, we now are collaborating with the city of Gonzales, which is something new for us, not in our county library system. You know, you have certain situations like Marina Library also partners with the city of Marina, is my understanding. But we're partnering with the city of Gonzales, so we're part of something bigger. We're essentially part of an ecosystem now. So we are having our grand opening this coming Saturday at 10 o'clock, and it'll last from 10 to 12, and then we'll be open for a typical business day. But we're part of something larger. So that something is the Dennis and Janice Caprera Community Center, which is owned by the city of Gonzales. So essentially we have three components. We have the library, there's a classroom, which is called the Teen Innovation Center, and then there's also a teen lounge. So there's various kind of things for the youth to do, but it's for everybody. There's beautiful walking paths, there's beautiful landscaping, there's just really a lot going on. So it's something new for the city of Gonzales, which since I've served this community, I want to say we maybe are at about 10,000 people here. So we're small, we're rural, you know, we're relatively close to Salinas, but a lot of times people here, it's been my experience that they operate in the city. They operate with the businesses that are here, the services that are here. And sometimes I think there's a sense of, well, there's a lot of stuff happening out there in Soledad and Salinas and the peninsula, but what about Gonzales? So one of my observations has been there's not really a third space. So I'm sure we've all heard of that concept. You know, you have work, home, and then you have a third space. And libraries have always served that function. You know, so while the library in the old location was something really exciting and it was a third space, we're now part of this larger city plaza, if you will, that has a beautiful amphitheater outside where there can be programming of all sorts. There's a ping pong table, there's beautiful lawn, there's plenty of places to sit, beautiful cafe style tables that have checker and chess boards built into them. And this is all, these are all decisions that the city of Gonzales has made, but we also are part of this now in our county capacity in a city building to offer a new innovative space that has so much. So we have our books, of course, but we also have a lot of technology that we did not have before. So we have a beautiful windows, natural lighting. We have really close access to all the schools in Gonzales. So before, for students trying to cross the overpass, sometimes it was, you know, scary. It was a physical danger to cross the overpass. And now we're right there. We're right across from Gonzales High School. We're right next to the middle school and the elementary. So we'll be really close to the students, but we're also closer to kind of the old Gonzales, if you will, where there's a lot of people that, you know, we're right next to a neighborhood that we were not next to before. So we're kind of a little more centralized, our new location. So the Dennis and Janice Caprera Community Center opened in January. So the classroom and the teen lounge have already been open for a while. The Boys and Girls Club is doing some programming. The city is offering homework help in the afternoons. So we're going to kind of synergize with them and see what kinds of things we can do to complement them as we open up. But we've been doing some things behind the scenes. So that's why our grand opening has been a little delayed. But it's coming Saturday, 10 o'clock, this Saturday, February 28th. And we're going to have some exciting things. So I'll talk to you a little bit about that. So something that we've tried to do in the interest of STEM is have a 3D printing program. And we've had that on Saturdays for over a year now. And that's aimed towards teens. But we have a couple people coming from other libraries that are going to have a live 3D printing demonstration on a machine, but then we're also going to have somebody that has little pens that look like magic markers. You put a plastic filament in there and you can create things on demand. You can trace designs. We're going to have a face painting booth, a toddler area, where there'll be activities where two librarians that have worked a lot with children's librarianship will be offering some great activities for toddlers and young ones, families. We're also going to be having Save the Whales, who is a nonprofit out of Seaside, to come and talk about marine mammals and watersheds. So we've had them before, and we have an MOU with them. So they come and often provide great content to libraries. They'll have an activity. They'll talk about some things that are very, very impactful in the area in which we live next to the ocean. Me and my staff, Jessica and Adriana, will be here greeting people, telling them about everything we're offering. Yeah, it's just going to be a great way to kind of come and gather community, get people here, get people excited. And then after that grand opening, we'll be open for our first actual business day.
Wow.
So yeah, it'll be a really exciting day. And in the future, we have a lot more programming we're planning to offer. So we've actually already made calendars 6 months out. So we've always offered the 3D printing.
Mhm.
We have our weekly story time on Wednesdays at noon. We have our tech time on Friday where people can make half-hour appointments to come and get tech help. So we'll be adding to that. We'll be doing movies, game days, STEM construction activities. And yeah, I mean, the sky's the limit, really. We're really, really lucky to be partnered with the city of Gonzales in such a beautiful, beautiful new space and such a great location.
You know, Christopher, this is so exciting. And I tell you, you know, a little bit giving away my age a little bit. I've been around for quite a long time and remember going to the library as a kid. And boy, libraries sure have changed a lot. They've become a hub of the community, oftentimes gathering places, oftentimes safe havens. But all this technology and all these tools and resources that you have available for families is just tremendous. Which brings me to the question, obviously you've touched on why libraries are so essential to the communities, but for families and for folks who haven't been to the library in quite some time, what would you say to them, and how do we get them in the door?
That's a fantastic question. Well, I would say the books are still here, and literacy is always one of our core components. Reading is fundamental, as the old adage goes. But we're also turning into a hub for technology and community gathering. And I think a big part of that is libraries are focusing a lot more on programming now, which we've always done. Storytime, for example, is kind of a basic core program that a lot of libraries aim to have, where you encourage early literacy by reading age-appropriate books, and sometimes you gauge it. If you have a 4-year-old, you might read them a different book than you'd read an 8-year-old, for example. But the emphasis on programming and community gathering and certain things like electronic resources, electronic databases, things like that, we're essentially merging the old approach, if you want to call it that, which is, books, before pre-internet. And, I grew up with very, very limited internet, dial-up modem. We all remember those, hopefully.
Yes.
And, you think about how we now all walk around with computers in our pockets. And I think a lot of people can kind of get into this, I won't call it a trap, but they may say, oh, well, we have a computer in our pocket now, so why do we need books? And the reality is it goes beyond that. We're always going to have books. That'll always be part of it. But we're working on approaches to kind of come into the new. And so we have something, for example, and I won't speak too much on that because it's not my project, but it's called the Library of Things, where you can check out items. So it's not just books necessarily. There's some libraries, and we're not doing this yet, but there's some libraries that, for example, check out kitchen implements. Say you need a potato masher once a year, you can go check out a potato masher. I know that certain libraries, I think Monterey Public Library used to do this, and our Big Sur Library used to do this at one point. We had a seed library where you could go and get seeds if you want to grow certain plants in your garden. But just in general, in Gonzales and in all the county libraries, something that we're really looking to do is we're looking to really bring the community in, and not just we're guessing what's good for you. We really get out there. We do outreach. A lot of us go out to classrooms. A lot of us go to community events. I myself go to a lot of school board meetings. I go to a lot of something called the Gonzales Community Collaborative, which usually happens. They've cut them down this year, but they're meetings in which people from around the county that offer a lot of different services, whether it's educational, nonprofit, job related, they come and they all just kind of share ideas. And that's usually, but it used to be multiple times a year. I think the next one is in March. But really just kind of getting out there and not just saying, well, we're the librarians and we know everything, but we reach out and we get day-to-day feedback from people we talk to. What would you like to see? And then we put that out there. So in a rural community like mine, I might go post something at the post office and that might be sufficient. In a larger community, you might want to do a little bit more, but we're taking something that we do during the summer, for example, which is we have performances here, musicians, magicians, all kinds of cool stuff for our summer reading program. And I would say we're taking that kind of energy into the entire year, kind of saying, well, do your day-to-day, serve a community, be good to each other and your staff and in the county, but also look to the people you serve in whatever capacity that is and ask, how can we get them to tell us what they want? And sometimes that's a survey, sometimes that's a short conversation. So, I think it's just kind of that way of thinking is what we're trying to do now. And maybe in the past libraries were more, well, of course, what we are. We have books and come on over. But really, we're making an active effort in the Monterey County Free Library System to do a lot of outreach. And sometimes it's as simple as a class visit. Sometimes it's just day-to-day conversations, meeting new people, getting your word out to different organizations that can kind of just whet people's appetite to know more. Because
Exactly.
we're here and we're really innovating, I would say. Innovating.
And that's certainly obvious by what you've said, Christopher, for sure. And, it's what's so important is that, the South County communities have access to all the greatest and latest things that are available, just like the rest of the county. Very important. And I'm so delighted to see our friends from KRKC on, which is the South County Radio powerhouse. So hopefully they'll send someone up to cover your event on the grand opening. And I want to thank you and want to thank the entire team at the Monterey County Free Libraries for all the work that you do in creating a gathering place, a safe place, fun place, an engaging place for members of our communities throughout the county. So thank you so much, Christopher, for being with us today.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity and your time. Thanks.
Great. Thank you. All right. And so the next guest we have is Kacey Rodenbush from our Behavioral Health Services for the County of Monterey. And she's here to talk to us about another special event that's coming up called Pink Shirt Day. Kacey, I'm intrigued and I want to know more. So tell us about this.
Thank you, everyone. Am I to use my slide deck from here?
Yes, of course. You're happy to do that. Happy to have you share.
Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Kacey Rodenbush. I am a services manager for Monterey County Behavioral Health. I've been working for behavioral health since August of 2012, so it's been a while. And I'm here to talk with everyone today about this annual event that behavioral health partners with many local organizations called Pink Shirt Day. So I'm excited to share some of the things that we have planned for our community. They're already happening this week, and it culminates at an event this Friday at the Northridge Mall. So Pink Shirt Day, if you've never heard of this, it actually started back in 2007 in Nova Scotia, where a young student wore a pink polo to school, and he was getting bullied, and two students wanted to take action because they thought that that was not okay. And then I think it was around the next day, that about 95% of the school showed up in pink shirts to support that young student. So since that time, it's made its way. It's also observed in New Zealand, and here in America. It looks different across the country. But in Monterey County, today is actually National Pink Shirt Day in the United States. And then at the school sites across the county, they're celebrating Pink Shirt Day, and different specific sites. So this event and this whole movement in Monterey County has been led by Harmony at Home, and it includes other organizations, agencies, and local school districts, as well as some individuals, and we all collaborate and co-create and co-produce this event, and it's really about cultivating communities of kindness. So you'll see down at the bottom all of our participating organizations. We have, of course, behavioral health. We have the Epicenter, Alisal Union School District, Harmony at Home, Mag One Media. Then we have the Salinas. I'm trying to read this one. It looks official, so it's someone in law enforcement.
County of Monterey Probation Department.
Thank you so much. Okay. Then we have Partners for Peace. The Northridge Mall is our host for the event on Friday. Artists Inc. We have a DJ, Ayumi Please, and then Santa Rita Union School District. So the event details are this Friday at the Northridge Mall in Salinas from 4 to 7 p.m. We'll have student performances. There'll be an anime short film. There's lots of different anti-bullying activities. We have a raffle. There's passports where we have, I think we're growing in terms of the organizations that want to come. We were trying to cap it, but we're growing. So as of yesterday, there was 35 local organizations that will be tabling with their resources, and there's still more wanting to come in. So the mall's pretty big, so I think we'll be able to have anybody in that wants to come in and join in our event. They'll be giving away free t-shirts. We'll have some swag. There's a free coloring book, and more. So here we have Alisal. So I was at the event last year, and this was just so wonderful. The Alisal Union School District, they bring in so much talent. So we have their mariachi band. We have their folclorio. I want to pronounce that correctly. Folclorico. Did I do that correctly? Spanish speakers in the house.
Sounded good.
Okay, thank you. Dancers, and then they do a drum line through the mall. So it's so much energy. And if you have small children, or they don't get too overstimulated, bring them, because it's such a beautiful event. It's really about building community and kindness. Then we have a collaboration among partners, Harmony at Home, Santa Rita Union School District, and Artists Inc. And so they've been working at the school site level, creating an art installation called Hearts in Hand. And so I'm imagining little hands all over this art installation that will be on exhibit at the mall there. And then we have DJ Ayumi Please. He's a local DJ, has a really strong passion for doing activism and community organizing to support LGBTQ plus individuals. So he is our resident DJ. And then we have a short film that has been, wow, a lot of effort and time and energy has gone into this film. It's going to be focusing on digital citizenship and cyberbullying. And it'll be animated. Ryan Knight is the creator, the director, the producer, has been working really hard on this. So it'll be great. We'll be screening that short film. Ryan's from Carmel, and he has just finished up his education in computer animation, and he's excited to share his film A New Light. So nowadays, just getting our youth away from the electronics, engaging with one another and building connections and community is what we really want to emphasize here in this gathering, is really connecting with each other. Because out in the digital world, there's so much going on, but we are actually here in 3D here in the world. And as much as we can connect with each other through our hearts, the better. Then we have, I'm excited to share about this piece. We have, I would consider him a child prodigy. His stage name is called Raleigh Fingers. I just saw him present, or he played at an event in Carmel called, it was a few weeks ago, Carmel Kindness Takes Center Stage. I was completely floored. I've been around music my whole life, and he is really gifted. So, and he has been all over. He is our local saxophonist, and so when he plays, he really just, I mean, if you can make it out there, I highly, highly recommend it. He has had many opportunities to share his gifts. His quote here is, "I just want to make people happy with my music. Playing the saxophone feels like magic, and I want to keep practicing so I can play with my heroes one day." So I featured him here with his hero, probably one of them, Kenny G. And really, really talented little young individual. This gives the folks here a little bit more on Raleigh's background. There's information. His father, they have full permission to share this information with everyone. His father welcomes contacts, and his information is down here at the bottom. And then finally, the project that I've been leading through behavioral health called Rainbow Connections for a few years now. We are doing a digital campaign, and this month we are focusing on kindness. And so we've aligned that with the Pink Shirt Day mission is cultivate kindness everywhere. So what you're seeing here on this screen, this is up on Instagram. And we're really educating the public on how specific skills and practices. We're taking a skill and practice one a month. In January, it was empathy. This month is kindness. Next month is support. April is allyship. And so it's going to keep on going. So if you're an Instagrammer, I invite you to join our campaign so that we can spread this support and kindness and empathy and allyship far and wide. And then finally, these are our contact emails. So Julie Mandaro has just been so wonderful in planning and organizing Pink Shirt Day, along with many others, but really the lead in this. And then myself, if you had any questions around the Rainbow Connections project, will be operational for another fiscal year. So we have the rest of this year and then 26, 27 to continue to support our community as best we can. So I'm so grateful for this opportunity to share with the media, and thank you for your time.
Yeah, that's great, Kacey. Thank you so much. And you had a lot there, which is pretty exciting. And that young boy with the saxophone, if I'm not mistaken, he was featured on television not too long ago. So I saw him as well. So he is quite a talent, and so that's great. Question for you though, I want to kind of look at the big picture, the behavioral health big picture, and how this ties in. So often today it's important to get peer support. In a lot of cases, it's more impactful than perhaps adult intervention. Can you maybe share a little bit on that and why it's so important?
Yes, as you mentioned, oftentimes the kids, they'll go to each other before they go and seek support from an adult. And so what we're really working in collaboration with multiple agencies is creating spaces within, particularly in the school setting, where kids we're calling them Everyone Belongs clubs. And wow, do they love that. So they just show up at lunch because they want to feel like they belong somewhere. And so we hold the space. And then how they're connecting and interacting with one another is just so wonderful, because when they can see that they're connected to each other, then they start to feel this sense of belonging. Because as adults, these environments, particularly in the schools, they're really busy and there's a lot going on. And so the adults have their tasks. And so when we can create spaces for the youth to come together and support one another, then that builds their sense of confidence or sense of connectedness. It's a huge driver of positive mental health. So the more that we can um, have the youth know that they have one another, but then also have adults that can support them, but create opportunities for them to be together with each other. But we had to hold the space for them because they're still young.
Yeah.
But then creating opportunities for them to come together because sometimes it's hard for them to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to touch on one other thing you mentioned is in one of your last couple of slides, and that is the one word that stuck out to me was kindness.
Mhm.
And how important, and it's something I think the notion of what it means to be kind, we kind of take for granted in some respects, because kindness, it goes beyond just being kind to people that we know or people we agree with or people we like. It transcends that. It should be towards everyone, regardless of where a person is at in life. How do what would you say how families can address those type of things in their own home environments?
Well, knowing kindness, there's a heart-opening quality to kindness. We know when someone has done something kind for us because we feel it and it helps, we feel cared for and supported. And you're asking more specifically in the home environment. I think with families, and well, why are we all under a lot of stress right now? So it's us, the parents or the caregivers, whoever is caring for the youth in the home, really being mindful of their own stress levels and finding opportunities so where they can have heart connections with their children that aren't looking outside, like going spending time together in front of a screen is different than going for a walk together or going and doing
Mm,
things out that are going to build connection because we have
right.
so many we are all surrounded by distractions
Yes.
and presence with our children is the most important because they know when we're listening to them and when we're not. So I think the presence is really the skill to cultivate because we all have as adults have a lot going on. And so us remembering that they need us. They need our time, they need our attention, they need our care. And just remembering that um, even just a small moment. One thing that we've done through this campaign is I've created a survey. So we're generating surveys around and circulating them for the youth. And the youth, so if you go onto Instagram, you'll see our posts. We're bringing quotes directly from the youth, and they're telling us what they need.
Mm,
So we're not just, making those determinations on our own. We're getting actual feedback from the youth, and they're telling us, how can you show kindness to me? And what does kindness look like to me? So we're able to take their wisdom and hopefully apply it.
that's great. Well, thank you so much for your work and your all your team members at Behavioral Health. We really appreciate it. And it's very near and dear and personal to me because my daughter is one of your clients, and so I'm grateful for all the work that happens in our county behavioral health team.
You're
I
welcome.
just want to also remind everyone about some important events that are coming up here in the county of Monterey. On Monday, March 9th, we have the grand opening of the Sendero Interim Housing Site in Soledad, part of our homeless services outreach and projects to help eliminate and curb homelessness in our county. On March 10th, as Supervisor Alejo mentioned, we have our COVID Memorial Monument and Garden Unveiling. So the whole community is invited to that. And on Friday, March 13th, out in Pajaro at 1 p.m., we have the grand reopening of the Pajaro soccer field and community playground, a big project as part of the AB 102 bill that the county received and helping the Pajaro community recover from the impacts of the 2024 levee break and flooding. I want to thank all of our guests today for joining us, and I want to thank all of you for joining us on the news briefing. We look forward to seeing you next week right here on Zoom, Facebook, or MGTV YouTube channel live. Until then, take care of yourself and take care of each other. Have a great day.